If you're like me and you miss the days when playing a game for 2 hours left your thumb sore for 2 days, this throwback is precisely the blister-inducing exercise in phalangeal abuse you've been waiting for.
Right.
This is Punch-Out!, a game that makes shoving your thumb into a jar of Icy Hot seem like a much more sensible idea than it probably is. Developed exclusively for Wii by the same studio which brought you Mario Strikers Charged, Punch-Out! Is a noteworthy release for Nintendo. It's only the third console-based release in the Punch-Out! Series, and the first such release in almost 16 years. Following 1987's immensely popular Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! For the NES, and 1994's Super Punch-Out! For the Super NES. Now, a lot of people were really excited about Nintendo and Next Level Games' decision to revive one of the Big N's oldest franchises, a series that dates back even a few years prior to its console debut with 2 popular arcade releases. Of course, a lot of that excitement was due to how much fun Punch-Out! Is, but even more so, I think it was about nostalgia, and in discussing Punch-Out! For Wii, especially among younger players for whom the names and faces in this game may not resonate, I think it's very important to discuss nostalgia. Because games like this aren't simply reviving a franchise, they're reviving memories from childhood. There's something special about playing Punch-Out! On Wii for the first time, knowing that 20 years ago, a much younger version of yourself was experiencing the very same characters and sharing the very same excitement. The term nostalgia is thrown around a lot, especially in the games press, but we shouldn't let its overuse dilute the fact that nostalgia is a very strong appeal to memory and emotion, and it's a big reason games like Punch-Out! Are so much fun and get people so excited. Are there better and more realistic boxing games out there? Of course, there absolutely are, but few, if any, of those games can match the instant appeal tied inextricably to the words Punch-Out!. And more importantly, to gamers who weren't around 2 decades ago, few, if any, of those games are built upon a gameplay concept as refined, proven, and ruthlessly addictive as this one. Punch-Out! Is really only a boxing game in aesthetics and execution. The game has nothing to do with the mechanics of the sport. This is a fast-paced, arcade-like action game based entirely on pattern memorization and timing. So if you think about it, it shares as much DNA with Guitar Hero as Fight Night. Playing as the beloved Nintendo mascot Little Mac, you're forced to box defensively. You can't just hammer the punch button because your opponents can only be struck when they're vulnerable. So it's all about learning their attack patterns, dodging at the last millisecond, and then striking when they leave themselves open. In that context, the game's simple controls make a lot of sense. Playing with the Wii Remote on its side like an NES controller, you use the directional pad to dodge attacks, the 1 button for a left jab, and the 2 button for a right jab. The complexity isn't in the control scheme, but it's derived entirely from the nuance of the gameplay itself, the sign of a truly old school and truly challenging gaming experience. Now, I mentioned Punch-Out! Is a thumb bruiser, and that has less to do with the Wii Remote's angular, flesh-poking D-pad itself than it does the addictive nature of the gameplay. Punch-Out! Is as habit-forming and difficult to put down on Wii as it's ever been, and the game's simple mechanics are as vibrant and fun as they were in 1987. Next Level faithfully brought them into the new generation, choosing not to fix what wasn't broken in the first place. That said, I would have liked to have seen Next Level be a little more ambitious with this revival. Punch-Out! Is built around a fantastic core gameplay concept that feels very old school, but unfortunately so does the package itself. There aren't any of the bells and whistles we've come to expect from modern games to flesh out the experience, so if you're looking for online multiplayer or online leaderboards, look elsewhere. It has a few different modes and a much appreciated local multiplayer, but as a whole, Punch-Out! Feels very 1980s because, well, it is very 1980s.
Allah! Allah! Allah!
That feel bleeds over into the characters too. Now they're fantastically designed, they're hilarious, and they animate incredibly well. But there are only 13 of them, and only one of them is new to the series. The others are all fighters you've fought before, and it would have been great to see some more new faces. There is an unlockable 14th opponent, and it's an awesome addition that I won't ruin for you, but it leaves you wishing Next Level would have thrown in a bit more new stuff and maybe not played this one so safe. Of course, if you're interested in Punch-Out, you're probably not looking for much new stuff, and although it's easy to criticize the game for what isn't there, you'd be foolish to overlook what is there. And that's one of the most fun and genuinely old-school Nintendo games to hit the platform. It's funny, it's addictive, it oozes personality, and most importantly, it's Punch-Out.
Stand still. Stand still.